bookish friends. Welcome to my June wrap-up part 2. In this video, I will first of all give the monthly statistics for the whole month of June, and then I will talk about the 7 books that I finished and 1 book that I DNF'd in the second half of June. Then I will briefly mention the progress that I made in the yearly reading challenges that I'm participating, as well as Berna's Bookish Bingo progress. In the month of June, I read a total number of 13 books. I read 4 historical fiction, 3 romance, 3 general fiction, 1 fantasy, 1 mystery and 1 thriller. I read a total number of 3,980 pages. I read 2 books between 100 and 200 pages, 6 books between 200 and 300 pages, 4 books between 300 and 400 pages, and 1 book between 900 and 1000 pages. My average page number per book amounted to 306.15 pages. I read 1 book published in 1970s, 1 book published in 1990s, 3 books published between the years of 2000 and 2009, 6 books published between the years of 2015 and 2020, and 2 books published this year, 2021. I read 11 books originally written in English and 2 books originally written in Turkish. As for book format, I read 11 novels, 1 novella and 1 graphic novel. For target audiences, I read 9 books targeted towards adults, 3 books targeted towards young adults, and 1 book targeted towards middle grade. I read 8 of those books in ebook format. I listened to 4 audiobooks and read 1 paperback. For my ratings, I gave 2 books 6 out of 10, 3 books 7 out of 10, 5 books 8 out of 10, and 3 books 9 out of 10. And my average rating for the month of June was 7.69 out of 10. This month has been one of the highest rated months of this year, so it has really been a good reading month. The first book that I finished in the second half of June was the only middle grade book that I finished this month. It was a Turkish middle grade book called Abartma Tozu. In this book, one day our hero, who is 10 years old, wakes up in his town and everybody acts really strange and does things in a very braggy way. And our hero seems to be the only one not affected by this phenomena, so he tries to uncover what the truth behind this. I really loved listening to this middle grade book. The language was really good. It both had a format that would fit middle grade children because it had repetitions and it had those repetitions were witty, really used as a bridge between chapters, which is a traditional storytelling format in Turkey actually. Both funny and made us think as well. So in summary, I gave this wonderful middle grade novel a 9 out of 10, and I wish this novel had been translated to other languages. The second book that I finished in the second half of June was Fairest by Gail, Carson, Levine. I buddy read this book with Naomi at Naomi's bookshelf, and we both enjoyed our buddy reading experience very much, like we do in all of our buddy reads. This is a retelling of the story Snow White, but it is told in a very feminist way of storytelling. Our heroine is very different from Snow White, who's actually a very passive heroine in the traditional fairy tale. So I loved this new take on retelling. I also really enjoyed actually the morally grey characters of this retelling were very complex characters. I very much enjoyed Gail Carson Levine's way of retelling traditional princess stories. And then I DNF'd a book which was A Single Man by Christopher Isherwood. First of all, this book is not a very bad book, but I really struggled to be in the mind of this character because I strongly disliked this character. I know this is a LGBTQ classic, but my problem was not, of course, with the sexual orientation of the character, but the way of thinking. There was a passage which was really racist and an analogy about minorities having faults because they do not fit the standard norms, which really made me feel shocked. Although the writing style was very decent, I did not want to read about this very peculiar character, so that's why I DNF'd the book. And then I read a graphic novel which also featured an LGBTQ plus character. The Prince and the Dressmaker by Wang. First of all, the drawing style was really cute and I loved it. And the story was actually very interesting. The prince liked to dress up as a woman and felt much more comfortable. And he hires a dressmaker to create dresses for his style, for his wishes. And the relationship between those two characters are the focal point of the story. If this book had been set in an unnamed country and in an indefinite time period, I would have given it an 8 out of 10, but instead I gave it 7 out of 10 because I do not think 19th century France would be so tolerant towards a prince who likes to wear dresses. I can understand the hopeful tone of the book, but it was too much unrealistic for my taste. Although I really did like the story, that's why I took up a point. Then I finished my Agatha Christie book of the month, which was Nemesis. It was the last novel that I hadn't read from Miss Marple series, and it featured a very elderly Miss Marple, and she tries to solve a murder which happened in the past time with the help of a letter from a dead man. It was really interesting and I really liked the construction of the story. But the most significant thing for me was that although this book was a Miss Marple mystery, I felt like I was reading a Hercule Poirot mystery. Because in Hercule Poirot mysteries, Hercule Poirot constantly talks about the mystery and what methods he will use to solve the mystery. Although he does not share the solution, the process is very clearly defined in many of the Hercule Poirot mysteries. But in Miss Marple mysteries, because Miss Marple is a very shy character and a very quiet character, we never quite could understand what she is thinking and what methods she will use to solve the mysteries. But in this one, she actually talked about how she would solve the mystery and how close she is to finding out or not finding out what would happen. And I love that part of it. Actually, being in the head of Miss Marple helped me to understand this character, which I liked but not loved as much as Hercule Poirot. So I'm very happy that I read this book. And to sum it up, I gave Nemesis an 8 out of 10. The next book that I finished was a thriller book. I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Iain Reid. This book was highly praised in BookTube, especially April at Getting Higgy With It considers this book as one of her favorite books. When I first started listening to the book, I really couldn't understand why this book is so highly praised. I mean, it was interesting, but not very, very engaging actually in the beginning of the book. And I really could not understand the main character actually. But as the book progressed and things became much more interesting, so many question marks appeared in my head. I really needed to find out what was happening. And the ending was risky, but it made very much sense to me. And I also really enjoyed the audiobook narration of this book. In some scenes that I've listened to, I felt not scared maybe, but a chill came over me while listening to this thriller book. So I also gave this book an 8 out of 10. And then I read a historical romance novella. This novella was given free to me as an ARC from the site Book Sirens for an honest review. I gave a rather detailed Goodreads review in my Goodreads page. I will link it down below. The name of the novella was A Price of a Rose, and it was written by Byrd, Nash. This is also a fairy tale retelling, Beauty and the Beast retelling. And I really did enjoy this retelling too. First of all, although this is a novella, the characters were really complex and three-dimensional, and there were additional plot points which made the book much more engaging than just a love story. And this retelling also kept the fantasy element and turned it a bit around. On the other hand, because it was a novella, I felt the ending was a bit rushed. And also, one of the characters could have been developed much more. So in summary, I gave this novella a 7 out of 10. And then I finished the month with A Column of Fire by Ken Follett. I bud read this book for the whole month with Gaia Athena. First of all, bud reading experience was really fun, and it was so good to read the message about how we felt about the chapter in the book. And Follett did it again. He's a wonderful writer. He creates very complex characters, and also he mixes those characters with the political and historical events. Especially politics in this book really played a very big part. This book takes place in the reign of Queen Mary, Queen Elizabeth, and the first years of King James. The main plot point is the religious conflicts between Protestants and Catholics. Ken Follett clearly took the side of tolerance, and tolerance is one of the things that I'm very passionate about. That's why I additionally loved some of the characters who are more tolerant towards people who do not feel or preach like themselves. It was a really powerful book in terms of that as well. And like in Pillars of the Earth, there was a character which I felt really strong hate towards them. And there was a very minor plot point which I felt a bit meh about. And that is the reason that I gave this book a 9 out of 10. I strongly advise this novel, especially if you like historical fiction with political drama. In 2021, I'm joining 2 yearly reading challenges. One of them is Read Christie 2021. For Reid Christie 2021, I read Nemesis by Agatha Christie, and I used this book for the prompt of a story featuring a garden. garden really plays a very big role in the beginning of the mystery, as well as towards the progression of the mystery. In order not to give spoilers, I will not say much. And my second reading challenge is series about series, and this reading challenge was created by Elizabeth at Lizzie Faye Loves Books. My goal is to progress on 21 series and read 42 books belonging to series. For the month of June, I finished 2 series. Actually, I read When Tomorrow Comes and finished Canadian West series by Janet Oak, and I read Fairest by Gail Carson Levine, and I finished Ella Enchanted Duology. And I also progressed in Miss Marple series by Agatha Christie by reading Nemesis, Bridgerton series by Julia Quinn by reading To Sir Philip with Love, and Kingsbury series by Ken Follett by reading A Column of Fire. I did a blackout in my Berna's Bookish Bingo for the months of April, May and June. In the second half of June, I read 2 books that I could use for Berna's Bookish Bingo prompts. For the prompt of LGBTQ plus main character, I read The Prince and the Dressmaker by Wang. And for the prompt of young adult series, I read Fairest by Gail Carson Levine. Berna's Bookish Bingo is going really well, and I'm feeling very happy about it, of course. So this was my June wrap-up, part 2. Please comment down below, have you read any of the books that I've mentioned in this video? And what did you think about them? And if you're a new viewer, first of all, welcome. Please like and subscribe. Hope to see you very soon. Bye. As for Turkish word of the day, since one of the books that I finished was A Price of a Rose, I thought rose should be the word of the day. Rose means gül in Turkish, and gül is our Turkish word of the day. Have a good day!